Alright, so for Jack Daniel's guitar number 6, I've got oak necks, and I've got the logoed body with the barnwood back. I aged the side with a torch, flamed it up, sanded it back. Looks a lot better than I think the first couple ones I did. Kind of goes in the vibe of charring the oak. But the neck, I cannot char, obviously. It's all set, it's fretted. So what I found was this Varathane Weathered Wood Accelerator. And I'm pretty sure it is steel wool with some vinegar drained, added water back in. It's from Rust-Oleum. I tested it on a piece of scrap, and that doesn't really match at all. It's okay in a couple spots. What I'm going to do is apply it to the neck, and then I'm going to sand it off with some steel wool. Get it just to look a little bit more aged. Can't leave it like this, and I got to put a coat of something on it after it's done. So we're going to put on some gloves, apply this accelerator, see what it does. We'll sand it back, and then we'll seal this with an oil poly. I want to see what the difference was between making this stuff myself and buying it. There's also Pioneer wood patina that you mix in a gallon of water. I'm assuming it's the same thing, just diluted. But I personally like making my own. Alright, so we got a cut up rag. We're going to dip this in, get it nice and saturated. And that looks exactly like the stuff I was making. We're going to apply it to the neck. And I know from doing this on my own, you can apply this as many times as you need to get the effect that you're looking for. So we've got this nice and saturated. I've got my old iPhone here, and I'm going to time-lapse this for you guys and show you what this looks like over time. A little bit heavier in the center here. Starting to darken up a little bit. Alright, so what I'm going to do is set up the time-lapse camera here. Let this sit for about 4 or 5 hours. Come back later, see what it looks like. Alright, so here's the neck 24 hours later. You can see in the time-lapse video, it really sort of aged in that first, I'd say 3 hours. The video in total was about 6 hours long. That's not bad. It's better than what it was. This is a neck that doesn't have the coloring. We're just going to take some steel wool, clean this off, and I should get some of the aging inside the grain, which would look pretty good. So this is knocking down any high spots from where I've raised the grain. Really got soaked into the end grain, so trying to even out that color. So there I knocked off any of the high spots. Just feeling around, got one spot right there. So that's feeling pretty good. In terms of coloring, much better now. Just a little bit of aging so it matches the vibe. This is with one coat on of the wipe-on poly. I thought it would stay a little bit darker, but there are darker streaks in here. So this is looking okay. We'll put another coat on, see what happens. So I put 2 coats of the Minwax wipe-on poly, and for the second coat what I did is I sanded this down with 600 grit. Same trick I did with the True Oil, so I apply it with the sandpaper and sand it, and it actually helped fill the grain a lot. It's a little bit sticky, so I'm going to get some steel wool and just knock down any of the sheen and make it less sticky. I think this looks super cool. So we'll let this dry. It's super smooth now. That's all you had to really do just to clean it up. We'll let this sit. We'll start applying the hardware onto this. But this oak aging is actually pretty cool. It does give it a nice little vibe. I probably would have left a little bit of the color on it. Maybe I sanded a bit too much off. But within the pores it looks really cool. And then when you sand it, it sort of seals it. The Varathane Weathered Wood Accelerator looks aged in minutes. Works pretty well. I think you probably get a consistent look versus you making your own material each time, but either way, interesting new product if you guys don't want to buy all the stuff, but most likely you have it. So anyway, that's the aged neck for the Jack Daniels guitars. Thanks for watching, guys. We will see you in the next vid.